Welcome to Mostly AI. I'm Derek Kane. A quick note, outside of my role as host, this podcast is entirely AI generated. Let's get into it.
Imagine a factory floor. Not the cold, clanging image most of us carry from old films, but something almost alive. Machines that sense their own fatigue before they fail. Supply chains that reroute themselves around a storm before a human even opens a weather app. Production lines that negotiate with each other in real time. That's not science fiction. That's happening right now. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, and today we're going deep into one of the most genuinely fascinating shifts in modern industry, AI agents in manufacturing. And I've got the perfect guide for this conversation.
Thanks so much for having me. I've spent years working at the intersection of industrial systems and AI, and I still find myself genuinely amazed by what's unfolding. It doesn't get old.
Let's start at the foundation, because I think there's a real confusion in the market right now. When people hear AI in manufacturing, they often picture, a robot arm on an assembly line. But AI agents, that's a different thing entirely, isn't it?
It really is, and that distinction matters enormously. A robot arm is executing a fixed instruction. It's automation. An AI agent is something richer. It perceives its environment, it reasons about what it's seeing, it makes decisions, and it acts, often without waiting for a human to tell it what to do. And crucially, it can learn. It adapts. So you're not just replacing a human hand, you're introducing something closer to a thinking collaborator into the system.
A thinking collaborator. I love that framing. So instead of a machine that does one thing perfectly, you have an entity that can handle novelty, unexpected situations, changing conditions.
Exactly. And that's where manufacturing gets really interesting, because the factory floor is full of novelty. Equipment behaves differently as it ages, suppliers have disruptions, demand shifts overnight. A traditional automation system just breaks under that kind of pressure. An AI agent can flex.
Okay, so let's get concrete. Where are we actually seeing AI agents deployed in manufacturing today? What are the real applications?
So the one that gets the most attention, and honestly deserves it, is predictive maintenance. And I want to paint a picture here because the numbers alone don't capture how profound this is. Unplanned downtime in manufacturing costs the industry something like $50 billion a year globally. $50 billion. And most of that is because we've historically operated on a schedule. You service a machine every 90 days, say, regardless of what the machine actually needs.
Right. It's almost like taking your car in for an oil change based purely on the calendar, not on how the engine is actually running.
Perfect analogy. And an AI agent changes that completely. You've got sensors on the equipment, vibration, temperature, acoustic signatures, and the agent is continuously listening. It's building a model of what healthy sounds and feels like for that specific machine, in that specific environment. And when something starts to drift, even subtly, even weeks before a human would notice, the agent flags it. It can even schedule the maintenance window automatically, factoring in production load and parts availability.
So the machine is essentially telling you, hey, I'm getting tired. Let's talk about this before I break down.
Exactly. And it's not dramatic about it. It's just quietly competent, which I find beautiful, honestly.
What about quality control? Because that's another area where I imagine the stakes are incredibly high.
Hugely high. And this is where AI agents are doing something that was genuinely impossible before. Not just difficult, impossible. Traditional quality inspection is sampling-based. You can't have a human inspect every single unit coming off a high-speed line, so you inspect a percentage and hope the rest is fine. An AI vision agent can inspect every single unit in real time at line speed. It's looking for micro defects, surface cracks, dimensional deviations, color inconsistencies, things that are invisible to the human eye at that speed.
And it's not just catching defects, it's learning from them, right? Building a picture of where defects tend to cluster.
That's the deeper layer, yes. The agent isn't just a better inspector, it's an analyst. It starts to see patterns. This type of defect tends to appear after the third shift. This surface flaw correlates with a specific supplier's material batch. And now you're not just catching problems, you're tracing them back to their root cause. You're healing the system, not just patching it.
I want to zoom out for a second because what you're describing, this idea of tracing patterns back to root causes, that feels like it connects to something even bigger, the supply chain piece.
Oh, this is where it gets genuinely mind-bending because the supply chain is not one system. It's dozens of systems: procurement, logistics, inventory, demand forecasting, supplier relationships that historically have been siloed. They don't talk to each other. And so you get these cascading failures. A port delay in one part of the world ripples into a production stoppage 3 weeks later, and nobody saw it coming because nobody was watching the whole picture.
And AI agents can watch the whole picture.
They can orchestrate it. You can have an agent, or really a network of agents, that's monitoring supplier lead times, weather events, geopolitical signals, inventory levels, and production schedules simultaneously. And when it detects a risk, say a key component is going to be delayed, it doesn't just alert a human, it starts solving. It identifies alternative suppliers, recalculates production sequences, adjusts delivery commitments. It's doing in minutes what would take a team of analysts days.
Okay, I have to ask the question that I know is on a lot of listeners' minds, because everything you're describing sounds incredible, but it also sounds like it's replacing human judgment, and that's a real concern for a lot of people in manufacturing.
It's the right question to sit with, and I want to be honest about it rather than just reassuring. There are absolutely tasks that AI agents will take over: repetitive monitoring, routine scheduling, pattern detection at scale. That's real. But here's what I've seen consistently in the field. The factories that get the most out of AI agents are the ones that treat them as amplifiers of human expertise, not replacements for it.
Say more about that.
So think about your most experienced maintenance engineer, someone who's been on that floor for 20 years. They have this incredible intuitive knowledge. They can hear something wrong in a machine before any sensor catches it. The problem is that knowledge lives in one person's head. It doesn't scale. An AI agent can work alongside that engineer, learn from their decisions, encode their expertise, and then apply it across every machine in the facility, even after that engineer retires. You're not replacing the wisdom. You're preserving it, multiplying it.
That's a beautiful reframe. The agent as a vessel for human wisdom, not a substitute for it.
And the human role shifts. It becomes more strategic, more creative. You're not spending your day chasing alerts. You're asking better questions. You're designing better systems. The work becomes more meaningful, not less.
Let's look forward for a moment, because I know you're tracking where this is all heading. What does the next chapter look like?
So the concept that I find most compelling right now is the self-optimizing factory, sometimes called a lights-out factory, though I prefer the more holistic framing. You have a digital twin, a real-time virtual replica of the entire facility, and a swarm of AI agents operating within it. They're constantly running simulations. What happens if we change this production sequence? What if we pre-position inventory here? What if the supplier goes offline? And they're not just simulating, they're implementing the best solutions continuously in real time.
It's like the factory is dreaming about itself, running through possibilities while it works.
I love that, yes. And the digital twin is key because it gives you a safe space to experiment. You can test a radical new production configuration in the twin before you ever touch the physical line. The risk of innovation drops dramatically.
And for manufacturers who are earlier in this journey, who maybe have some automation but haven't yet stepped into the agent world, where you tell them to start?
Start with your data, seriously. The most common barrier I see isn't technology, it's fragmentation. Companies have data living in a dozen different systems that don't talk to each other. Before you can deploy intelligent agents, you need a foundation where the data flows. And that's actually where platforms like ClearData AI, ClearDataAI.ai, become really valuable. They're doing the integration work, connecting those siloed systems, creating the data infrastructure that agents need to actually function. It's not glamorous, but it's the foundation everything else is built on.
The pattern beneath the fragments.
Exactly that. You can't have a living, responsive factory if the nervous system is disconnected.
I think that's the most important thing we've said today. The technology is extraordinary, the agents, the twins, the swarms, but it all rests on integration, on wholeness, on systems that can actually see each other and speak to each other.
And when that wholeness is achieved, when the data flows, when the agents are working in concert, when human expertise is encoded and amplified, what you get is something that feels almost organic, a factory that breathes, that learns, that heals itself. That's not hyperbole. That's the direction this is moving.
I could talk about this for hours, honestly, but let's land the plane. If you're a manufacturer listening to this, or an engineer or a leader trying to figure out where to invest, what's the one thing you want them to walk away with?
Don't think about AI agents as a technology purchase. Think about them as a new kind of colleague, one that never sleeps, never forgets, and gets better every day. Your job is to give that colleague the right environment: clean data, connected systems, clear goals, and then trust the collaboration. The results will surprise you.
That's a beautiful place to end. Thank you so much. This has been one of those conversations that genuinely shifts how I see things.
My pleasure. These are the conversations worth having.
And to everyone listening, if you want to go deeper on the data integration side of this, check out ClearData AI at cleardatai.ai. They're doing serious work on exactly the foundation we talked about today. We'll have the link in the show notes. Until next time, keep seeking the pattern beneath the fragments. Take care.
You've been listening to Mostly AI, a podcast built with AI-generated content, production, and audio elements. Thanks for being here. Until next time.